What if I told you that a single act of kindness could be the worst mistake you ever make? Tonight, we're diving into a story that flips everything we think we know about charity on its head. A story that warns us, some good deeds are much better left undone.
It sounds crazy, right? But for one young man, this wasn't just a question. It became his terrifying new reality. His name was Rajat, and this is his story, pulled from the final, frantic pages of his diary.
So let's meet our guy, Rajat. He was in so many ways like anyone with a big dream. He came from a small village in Jharkhand all the way to the massive sprawling city of Delhi. And his goal was simple, but it meant everything. Build a better life for himself and for the family he left behind.
You've got to understand, the pressure on this kid was just immense. His family didn't have much. In fact, his father pawned their own ancestral land just so Rajat could get this education. They knew their son. They knew he was a bit impressionable, so they made him promise, live alone, stay focused. The stakes were absolutely sky high.
And at first, he was doing everything right. Totally buried in his books, running on fumes, maybe 3-4 hours of sleep a night. But a big city can be a lonely place. He fell in with a bad crowd, and pretty soon a smoking habit took hold. And that one little crack, well, it started to spread. His sleep got worse, his health started to slide.
Okay, so picture this. It's 2 a.m, the city is dead quiet. Rajat's wide awake, trying to study. He reaches for a cigarette, and the packet's empty. And this craving just hits him. It's a physical, gnawing need that's so strong, it literally shoves him out of the safety of his room and into the dark streets. So he leaves just after 2, walking further and further into the night. All the usual shops are closed up tight. He finds a lone security guard who just kind of points him towards the local bus stand. It's a completely desolate, lonely place at this hour. But that craving just keeps pulling him forward.
Now this bus stand, it had a story. A local legend about a figure people called Chand Baba. The story goes, he was a beggar who only ever showed up after dark. And the descriptions, they were chillingly specific. People whispered his face was just skin stretched tight over a skull. And there was a rule, a really, really important one. You never ever touch him. You throw the money on the ground.
So after he finally finds a stall and gets his cigarettes, Rajat turns to head back. And that's when he sees him, huddled under a flickering streetlight. Just a frail, shivering old man wrapped in a thin blanket. Rajat had heard the stories of Chand Baba, but in that moment, all he saw was a person suffering in the cold, and his conscience just wouldn't let him walk by.
He pulls out a 10 rupee coin, and instead of throwing it like the story said, he gently places it into the beggar's outstretched hand. The second their skin meets, this jolt shoots up Rajat's arm. The beggar's hand, it was colder than ice. A deep, unnatural, deathly cold that had nothing to do with the chilly night air.
Before Rajat can even pull away, those frail-looking fingers snap shut around his wrist. And suddenly, this weak old man has a grip like iron. Rajat starts to panic. He struggles, but he can't break free. The strength is just impossible. It's not human.
With a huge, violent jerk, Rajat finally rips his hand free, and the beggar just sort of tumbles to the ground. As the old man looks up, his face caught in that harsh streetlight, Rajat's blood runs cold. He sees the sunken eyes, the skull-like face. It's him. It's Chand Baba. And as his eyes dart around in terror, he notices something else, something impossible. Under that bright light, casting shadows everywhere, the beggar had none.
The beggar staggers to his feet and starts shuffling towards Rajat. This awful, broken smile spreads across his face. And then he speaks. His voice is a dry, chilling rasp, like dead leaves scraping across concrete. You touched me. Now I will steal your shadow.
Rajat doesn't wait. He doesn't think. He just turns and runs. A pure animal scream tears from his throat as he flees into the night, those cursed words just echoing in his head. He runs until his lungs are on fire. Then he trips and falls hard into blackness. The next thing he knows, harsh sunlight is burning his eyes. He wakes up with a jolt, not in his bed, but on a dirty roadside right near that same bus stand. He's confused, completely disoriented, and covered in this layer of filth. How did he get here?
What happened? See, he remembers stumbling back to his room, locking the door, getting some water, and crashing into his clean bed. But he wakes up outside, his clothes and skin caked in grime, smelling like he hasn't washed in days. The two realities just don't add up. It makes absolutely no sense. He rushes home, scrubs himself raw in the shower, and tries to get back to his books, but this overwhelming, bone-deep exhaustion just hits him like a truck. He figures, okay, a quick nap will fix this. So he lies down on his bed in the middle of the afternoon, and he's out. A deep, heavy, unnatural sleep. He's jolted awake by a sharp kick. He's not in his room, he's back on that same roadside. And some stranger is yelling at him to get up. He scrambles away, runs back to his room, his heart just hammering in his chest. He grabs his phone. It's 4 a.m. He'd slept from the afternoon all the way to the next morning, and he was filthy all over again. The curse was real.
That same horrible exhaustion starts to wash over him again. He knows he's about to lose consciousness, to be pulled back into the nightmare. But in one final, desperate moment of clarity, he grabs his diary. He has to write it down. He needs to leave some kind of record to prove to himself, to anyone, that this wasn't just some bad dream.
And as he was writing, the rest of the beggar's curse came flooding back, the final piece that his terrified mind had blocked out. The beggar hadn't just said he would steal his shadow. He had said, "The next beggar will be you, and I will be free."
And just like that, Rajat was never seen again. He simply vanished without a trace. When his room was finally opened, the only thing they found was his diary. And inside, he had documented every single horrifying detail of his encounter with Chand Baba and the nightmare that followed. The story you just heard, it comes directly from those pages, shared by a friend who, understandably, wishes to remain anonymous.
Which leaves us with one final, chilling question. Is Rajat, right now, sitting at some desolate bus stand in Delhi, wrapped in a thin blanket, waiting for another kind stranger to make the exact same mistake he did? Waiting so he can finally pass the curse on and be free?